Raw episode earlier than usual. So what happened? We illustrated with actually a decent opener with Randy Orton. Well, primarily the Miz over Miz TV until Randy Orton was costly and trying to call out that he would be cashing in, probably in a lose-lose situation with Randy Orton. Then later on the night that it would be issued that Randy Orton will be defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre in a rematch from Hell in a Cell. So, we had a lot of, at least somewhat important semblance of entertainment, if I could say so. We had everybody brawling. There was an RKO literally out of nowhere after Kofi Kingston was getting in the face when the New Day was interfering in the. Even though they were technically scheduled guests. It was a decent opener. The six-man tag would be the main event. I guess. That would be big. We had a Survivor Series qualifying match with the three dudes that already lost in one-on-one qualifiers. With Elias losing, Jeff Hardy losing, and then Riddle lost to Sheamus. So they have a triple threat match. And to interlude that we're still having a feud with Jeff and Elias, they won't win. There was a decent counter over the twist of fate. There was a knee to the face. The bro Derek hits Elias so the win clean. Still goes to Riddle. I gotta call him Riddle now. Jesus Christ, WWE. What kind of illustrations? I get it. Why they have to trademark the name, so it makes sense. It's a business tactic. I get it, but it's just so weird. It's like me, like you said, like I'm ST now. I am EST. But other than that, there was an average triple threat match. It was an average triple threat match. There was barely any story, but other than that, we had Riddle just being like, "I'm on Team Raw now, and y'all gotta deal with it." It's literally the core of Survivor Series. Looks like a girl, built like a dude. Nobody asked for this. I'm serious. And later on, we had Lana face off against Shayna Baszler, 1-on-1, and it gotten more crazy that I was supposedly supposed to care. Other than they've been showing how many times that Lana got dashed onto a table. She's getting jobbed out, bashing about, and she still comes off with more important wins. But she's jobbing to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and she's still on Team Raw for Survivor Series, like it even matters. And it ends off the Coquina clutch. It wasn't important of a match. I guess she did a kick, and there's I'm usually more detailed when it comes to wrestling matches, bro, but it is 3 hours. It's nearly midnight, and I am not trying to waste my energy just to review this fake fighting BS, man. It is. Lana's already as predominantly bland as she was when she was a manager, because at least she was hot. She still is, but she doesn't look good in her wrestling gear, in my opinion. She's hot. She had an attractive-looking Russian accent. And other than that, wouldn't mind her talking over literally what was supposed to be a European brute. Now he's gone and she's getting punished over him being gone. I guess that has something to do with the business. Other than that, I can care less. I really can. So, jeez, dude. Other than what we had over most of the show, there was a tag team match illustrating the leadership strategies of AJ Styles. Yeah. So he illustrated these guys couldn't get along. Styles even tried to give them names, and I had to say that Styles, like in a mid card setting, he's the MVP. He's humorous, entertaining. Came around conversating with Adam Pearce. Then later on, when everybody is still arguing backstage, that there would be a tag team match involving Riddle, Strowman, Sheamus, and Lee. Uh, The referee was shockingly AJ Styles, so everybody can coexist before next week. So that's at least some team for the women's division counterpart. They had like at least Dana Brooke and Mandy butting in whenever Nia was trying to smash Lana into a table and trying to mess around with the women's tag team champions, go over her scuffle, costing them the tag team titles, and then later on they have their big scuffle later in the last couple with the Asuka versus Nia Jax match, and Nia and it's upsetting for me because I miss Asuka. She was literally one of the more important over the when we were still in the performance center. She was literally the most entertaining part of the show, and that's surprising because I had a few negatives about Japanese professional wrestlers, especially Shinsuke Nakamura, and the more entertaining of the two is Asuka. Uh, we had Drew Gulak harass the Hurt Business with a clip-on tie. It makes sense, I guess, even though what part is ever going to be used for a clip-on tie other than thank God Daniel Bryan's not on Raw to choke you out with that tie. Uh, with disrespecting Black Evolution, Cedric and Shelton start attacking him. So they nearly got the tightest treatment later on the night. We had Bobby Lashley issuing his grievances over to Sami Zayn before their match at Survivor Series, because of course Intercontinental and U.S. title champions have to wrestle weekly. I mean, a yearly obviously makes both men look prestigious, especially freaking neckbeard Sami Zayn midget that obviously some people forgot the ladder match he had at Clash of Champions. I wouldn't blame him. So it ends up with Titus O'Neil coming in because a couple weeks prior he got assaulted by the Hurt Business after trying to persuade them to uh, join the Hurt Business, giving some respect to Titus. He issued a title opportunity, and he got speared in a full Nelson. I gotta give it up to Titus, even though he didn't come up in his wrestling gear, issuing that this match was gonna be put up quick to still issue Bobby taking up strong. It's a bit sad though. Oh, by the way, R-Truth pinned Gulag after the Hurt Business were done with him. So he's like a 40-something champion, and I'm like wasting my time with this is just to get these jobbers on television. Yes, the hardcore title is doing the same thing, but at least I know who Crash Holly is. I know who Raven is. Rhino. And you could be like, oh god, ooh, Rhino won the hardcore title. Oh, that's cool. He's probably gonna challenge for the Intercontinental Championship soon. And, like, what? I'm not like Drew Gulak. It was Drew Gulak, Lince Dorado, Grand Metalik, Tucker. I don't know if they're ever gonna call him Tucker Knight again. They were all just in Akira Tozawa in like a jobber. Let's do a spot, do a spot. It ends on the front senton. Tucker also gets the title off his finishing move. Then it ends up with Gulak nearly getting the finish. Eric was there hitting his knee to win his first belt. Everybody was bashing it around I think until R-Truth took it away. I'm super happy. I'm super happy that this belt is just a waste of time for jobbers. And the only person who at least makes this belt have any semblance of an identity is literally R-Truth. I don't hate R-Truth. I love R-Truth, and I hope he makes it to the Hall of Fame. But dude, if there's only one dude winning your belt 40 times and still nobody's getting over it, except a 50-year-old dude that's been on the roster since like the late 90s, there's a problem. Yes, R-Truth was also part of the Attitude Era. I mean, he was K-Quit, but we don't talk about that. So next up, we had Nikki Cross confronting Alexa, telling her she's not trying to play, and of course we know that it's all her fault with the Fiend because back then she was feuding with Bayley, and like that's the only reason why Nikki Cross is there, other than her crap Western theme song. Even though the poor woman's freaking Scottish, Looks like some chick you probably rejected in high school, pale as garbage and chunky. She must be a really nice lady. No hard feelings. I don't want to hurt your feelings, Nikki. But you were literally here just to continue some dumb storyline. Like I know they're gonna probably rush this off to have a match on like Kickoff or Survivor Series or something. I'm just not captivated. Nikki Cross, like as many promo time they try to give her, because she's also a ratings killer, as chagrined to what they've been doing with Bayley and Sasha Banks like earlier parts of the pandemic. Oh God, Nikki Cross sucks. She can't wrestle. Lana at least has looks, and she at least has the captivation to at least grab people's attention with how she talks and her looks. Nikki Cross could barely wrestle. Her promo is completely stammering. That's probably because she doesn't talk that much in general. And she looks completely awkward. And I don't really care about her feud with Alexa. And I thought we were shoving her off because she already is with the Fiend. And they're just going to continue with the Randy Orton thing. So, Nikki comes around just saying that it's either me or the Fiend. So she chooses the Fiend. Nothing else after that. I know they're going to have a match. Next up, we had Asuka defeat Nia off disqualification after the Asuka lock was locked in on Nia Jax. Don't know what else happened. I mean, good for Asuka that she's back on TV. I miss her. But you have your return match on DQ just to further nothing, and there's barely any build over to your champion match. And like, I don't care about Survivor Series, dude. I don't. That's so depressing because that's one of my favorite pay per views. I liked '07. I liked '06. Obviously, I liked '05. Sorry, dude. I'm ruthless aggression all the way. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I love the Attitude Era. Even though the Attitude Era was good, the network has its benefits, but I'm ruthless aggression. 2016 was fine. Like we had some memorable points, even parts in the '90s, but now it's like an excuse to bring any relevancy why we even need a brand split to begin with, even though we already released like 20 people, like 30 people in the span of like 6 months. I would like drop it. I would drop it because we already have so many belts. We have so many wasted dudes on payroll that make no sense. So later on, Lana still got bunched on a table. Alex, Mandy and Dana were getting laid out by Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Asuka came kicking around, but it was still too much. So it was crazy. I kind of missed this segment. Uh, Angel Garza cut a promo that stating that he fights to show all women he deserves better. They deserve better than than the rest of the man in in the wood. I don't know what he can't speak English. Uh, and I thought he was just gonna be chubby chasing Nia Jax. That would be really funny. Like they try to give him that Mike Awesome gimmick, and he would bring that Latino flair. I mean, that would be messed up, but other than that, at least it was a gimmick. I would take that. Like make him a chubby chase. Oh God! Oh shoot! They have nothing for Angel Garza. I don't even know where Andrade is because they forget how bland he could be. Even though I liked his matches with Rey Mysterio, man, and Andrade has his talents, but it's not going to captivate that much of a mainstream audience. That's just my opinion. We had Mustafa Ali against Ricochet. This is going to be as quick as I can make it because, dude, I didn't care about this match. We had a backstabber from the top, Hurricane Arana's close calls off a Phoenix Splash. It ends off some kind of modified leg lock submission, and it ends with Ricochet tapping, We go over mention a hero, and it's like prolific, cryptic BS being flapped on your lap. Didn't you guys job to the Hurt Business for the last month? I'm sorry, it's just a waste of time. They're a waste of time. You have this smothered midget 7-Eleven Shane Helms jobber coming with overly cryptic BS. The guy can talk good, but wins mean something, or else you're not going to get that relevant on a fan base. And you have these mid-card NXT jobbers just and what's the complaint going on here? What's the complaint? I'm trying to understand. Nothing's working. You harassing Ricochet after trying to point your guns at the top heels in the company out of the Hurt Business, and you lose to Lashley. You lose to Benjamin and Cedric. You beating MVP is not going to mean much because it's been well established that MVP is not much of the big attacker on the group. It's going to be Lashley. MVP is just the veteran and the mouthpiece. It doesn't really matter, and they're still not over. You guys already been the laughing stock from backstage, and the backstage don't even like it. Then what's the point of you guys still being on television? I can care less if you have a best of 7 match with freaking Ricochet on TV. It doesn't mean much. You guys came from like main eventers on Raw to like Ricochet that puts his finger in his bum. Either than that, sorry for giving you nightmares. So, God, what else we had tonight? I swear we had more stuff in store because SmackDown's obviously going to be better than this last week. Because there's been no memorable matches. Not merely the opener and the ender was enough to at least push some parts of the needle to at least get you excited. The WWE title is going to be defended on Raw, so that's at least important. So the 6-man tag against the New Day and Drew McIntyre against Miz and Morrison and Randy Orton was the main event of the show, and the match was watchable. I can give you that. Like a double belly to belly suplex, drop kicks. We had a tope coming from McIntyre, a corkscrew somersault from freaking John Morrison, elevated DDT. We had some taunting with McIntyre and Orton because, of course, he was getting fronted and he will defend his WWE Championship on Raw before the Survivor Series. So that's at least big enough to see who's going to be facing off against Roman Reigns on the pay-per-view, even though it doesn't really benefit anybody except bragging rights. Oh, shoot, that pay-per-view. Remember that pay-per-view. God, it sucked. I think 2009 was like the best one of the 2 pay-per-views that existed. And it ends with, of course, the Claymore kick that I swear they think it's over. They think it's over. They have the chant. They give like 1, 2, 3. They want to forcibly make McIntyre charismatic, and I hate when you make people like forcibly charismatic. Like we all know McIntyre's better as a heel at this point, right? It's called the Scottish Psychopath. He comes around tapping out Kurt Angle with his own move. Then you have him being like the 60 Scotsman doing like from the Indies, and I sucked in all this stuff. Come on, dude, it's not that over with me. I'm sorry. I'm a tough egg to crack in this type of stuff, dude. Uh, I hope McIntyre is happy as how we got with the WWE title. Probably gonna be excited for his match next week. It's just I don't care. So we have Miz and Morrison still getting portrayed as jobbers. Orton doesn't look strong. McIntyre has momentum for next week come his title match. That's technically the show. I'd rather rate this with Titus O'Neil under the ring at a 10. The show was forgettable, but at least it pushed up for next week. I like the build up with the relationship going on to the men's team Raw. I like the collision of at least some semblance of personalities. Everybody's conflicted, and you see Styles trying to get everybody to get along before the pay per view. That's at least something. Like confliction of like Orton getting chased around. Like of course you got to deal with the Fiend, McIntyre still chasing him, and of course you got the Miz. That means that the WWE title is important. Orton is one of the top guys in the company. You like it. You had a decent opening segment that gets you hyped up for the main event. Adam Pearce at least plays somewhat of a role, even though he looks like a rip-off Chief Morley midget, cancer patient, piece of garbage. I'm serious. Release this dude. Just sign back Eric Bischoff unless you're gonna give him like a power role on AEW. Yet they'll not hire Vince Russo, even though they should, because at least Vince Russo was at least decent enough to spike up some ratings on Nitro, WWE, and Impact. Tell me that I'm wrong. I'm serious. And some people would be calling Vince Russo a piece of shit, and it's like I don't know why. Sure, some of his stuff was a bit risque, but at least for that, it captivated viewers. It got people to become fans of certain superstars. You got to at least exaggerate and make personalities out of some wrestlers that obviously didn't have their own personality to get them over. So there's at least a benefactor in that. I don't know why people always try to rag on Vince Russo. And at times, back in the day, like I was like, oh fuck Vince Russo, all this stuff he ruined wrestling. 2000 Nitro, and I go back and I go to the network. I watched 2000 Nitro because I was curious. I actually had enjoyment watching 2000 Nitro. I like Team Canada. I liked Lance Storm. Goldberg was still being Goldberg, and they were giving him stuff to do. They made Booker T look like at least an average rip-off Rock main eventer. Sting at least looked like a top guy. They were at least making Vampiro look important. The mid card still at Disco Inferno having some entertaining stuff. Like I can remember stuff off Nitro in 2000. What can you tell me that you remember from 2019 to 2020 WWE fondly? So that just cut off the point. Raw was as mediocre as it can get, and it's been like that for the last 3 weeks of Raw. Hopefully, they can just pick it up in their go home show come next week. Other than that, I'm going to enjoy my birthday. Thanks for watching.